Perfect. Awesome. Again, thank you everyone for joining. Kind of jump into a quick agenda for what we're going to go through today. First, we're going to walk through how to sign up a merchant. We're actually going to go step by step through the process and talk about every little detail of the different things you need to make sure you're thinking about and talking to your merchant about when you're signing up a customer. We'll then talk about, as part of that sign up process, the different sign up offers, what's a good sign up offer, what to think about when you're talking to merchants, and some of the automation, what good automation you want to use and stuff of that nature. So we'll jump into that, and then after, what we'll focus on is what do we do post sale? What's that onboarding look like for our merchants, and what do those follow up strategies that we've deployed the last 14 years to make sure we keep our attrition rate extremely low? So we'll really share two different types of follow up strategies. We'll share the strategy when it's more of a SaaS, so you have a merchant that's just paying you for the monthly subscription each month, and you're just managing that relationship, or if you're going full service, which a lot of our partners are doing, the more full service. So we'll kind of share what kind of follow-up process you should have if you're doing a more full service account. And when we talk about full service, what that means is you're actually sending out the text messages for them, you're meeting with them to review the data, and really just doing everything for them. And then what we'll do after that, we'll finalize with a little Q&A. And obviously, as I always mention in these calls, if you have questions throughout, feel free to kind of type them in, and I'll talk about them as we're going. You could also click the raise your hand, and as I see that on my other screen, I'll pop that up. And then during the Q&A, it's your time. So if we don't have anything related to what we present today, you're always welcome to ask any questions about the business or about the product that you want while you've got me here. Awesome. So let's jump right into signing up a merchant. So really, one thing I want to start with when we talk about signing up a merchant is the pricing plans, right? So how do we know which pricing plan we're going to choose whenever we sign up a merchant? And then how do we make sure that it's displayed when we sign up a merchant? So under the pricing plans, you go over to billing, you click plans, and you've got the plans that you've already created. If you want to create a new plan, you click create new plan. Right here, when you're creating a new plan, it says show on sign up page. So what that means, and the reason we have that toggle switch is many times or I should say over time, you're going to have lots of different plans because you may do a bigger deal and do a one-off plan that you want to sell just one time. And so you may not want to toggle all of your plans on. In our business, we only have a couple plans toggled on, even though since we've been doing this for 14 years, we've got probably 40 different pricing plans that we priced that over the years. And so you'll have that toggle switch on or off. And then when you're creating the plan, you name it whatever you want to name it. So I'm just going to name this one full service plan. Then you got to determine if you're going to charge by location or by account. So typically when we're selling, we always do it by location. There are times when you may want to do it by account. Maybe even more specifically with a full service plan, you may decide that you want to do that just by account. So if they have 5 locations and you're billing them by account, they're only going to pay one price for all those locations, and then any overages for the number of messages you include would be billed to them. If you're doing it by location, then it's going to be, if it's 99 bucks a location, they'll be billed per location. And if you include more messages, it'll combine them. So if you're giving them 1,000 messages per location, it combines it into one account. So if they had 5 locations, they would have 5,000 messages. So I'm going to do by location, and for the full service plan, we're going to charge $3.99, and I'm going to include 2,500 messages, 1,000 MMS, and I'm going to do the overages at 2 and 4 cents. And you can do the cellular data as well if you want to charge them per kiosk for if you're selling them cellular data plans. If I was doing that, I would do that at $15. Then I create the plan. I've got it showing on sign up page. So now when I go to sign up a new account, that plan will be there. Also under actions here, I've got a sign up page. Now this sign up page is a public sign up page. So this would be if you wanted to send it to them to sign themselves up. I don't recommend this. I like to sign customers up, on the more robust sign up sign up page, because this doesn't get their loyalty program. It doesn't get all the automation. So then you have to manually set that up after the fact. When you use our other version of a sign up form, you're going to be able to do all that as part of the sign up process. So once I'm ready to sign up an account, I go to accounts here, top right corner, I click new account, and then start with business name. As you can see here, this is what's going to be on the text alerts and automated text. So for example, if I'm doing, let's say it's Joe's Pizza. I wouldn't want to do, if it's an LLC, I wouldn't want to do Joe's Pizza LLC. I would just want to do Joe's Pizza, because this is what's going to be hard coded on every single text message that's outbound, whether it's a text alert or automated text. And in some cases, this is, they may say, oh, my business name is, it's under a random LLC. The brand is Joe's Pizza, but I've got it under, Joe's Investment Holdings Company. You wouldn't want that, because then no one knows it's the pizza place, right? You want to use the brand name. So Joe's Pizza. Email address, you just put that in there. First name, last name, account phone number, username, which I always recommend using the email address as a username. And then it's going to ask for your account type. So there's 2 account types that you have to choose from: kiosk and web app, or web app only. So you may have customers that, they're not a brick and mortar, or if they are brick and mortar, they may not want the kiosk in store. So in that case, you would just pick web app only. If you want both, you're going to put kiosk and web app. Then you're going to put the average ticket. This is really important, because this is how we're going to calculate the estimated revenue when when customers redeem offers at merchants. So if it's 25 bucks, I'd put 25. Don't make this number up. This is something you want to ask the merchant, what is your average ticket? So when we estimate that revenue, it's more accurate at that point. And then I'm going to put in their website here. If you have a rep to assign to it, you can assign a rep. If the rep is logged in, if you have a sales rep and they're logged in, it's going to auto-populate that. You may have seen this age restricted account. So if you've got a wine store or someone that's going to be doing lots of alcohol content, it needs to be an age restricted account. All that means is whenever we go to opt them in, we're going to ask for their birthday to make sure they're properly age gated. And that's a compliance thing you want to make sure you do if it's going to be an account that's going to be sending out lots of alcohol content. Social media links are optional. The reason you'd want to put these in, though, is on the mobile web app. It'll actually have it at the end. It'll have all those links. It also will create many URLs in your system. So whenever they go to send out text and they do the drop down of many URLs, they'll be able to pick Facebook, and it's going to tag them, so we can show whenever they're sending out messages, how many people click to go to Facebook and Instagram. If they got an online menu link, you can put that on there as well, which will be on the mobile web app as well. Another thing about the social media links, when we get to automation, and one of the texts will actually include all those links on one of the automated texts. So you'll actually be able to show that engagement from that text message with your merchant. So at this point, it's going to ask me which type of customer engagement platform am I picking. Do I want to do it with digital loyalty platform or without loyalty? If I'm going to do it with loyalty, I'd click there. If I do without, I click there. Click next. And then it's going to ask you to pick the skin, kind of this kiosk template, and then the different offers for the loyalty program, since I did pick loyalty. So sign up offers, you see we have some recommended ones here. The reason we have these recommended ones, these are the ones that we've used over the last 14 years a lot. And they work very well. You can see they're very generic except for the free soft drink. The free soft drink just, for restaurants comes up a lot. But my recommendation, if you want to increase adoption rate, I would do a generic offer. So $1 off, $2 off. Because now you're not, what if I'm a water drinker and you do free soft drink and I'm like, it's not, I don't want to sign up. Now, the advantage of having a loyalty program is you are going to increase the adoption rate, because they have something they're working towards. So, having that loyalty program is going to help them build their Text Club database a lot faster. So I'm going to do $2 off here. Loyalty program, same thing. I'd really like to keep it simple. One thing I recommend is, when we asked about their average ticket, in this case, I said it was 25. So I'm going to recommend to that merchant doing something like 15 off of 30. So the idea behind that is now I'm going to increase that average ticket from 25 to 30. It's going to be almost impossible to spend exactly $30. And the mindset behind that is we're now going to make them either invite someone new, change their habits. They're going to order something different. Maybe they don't normally order dessert, but now they've got to reach $30 to get that $15 off. Also, what I like about doing a dollar amount off for the earned loyalty offer is they're still going to make margin on that transaction. You know, a lot of small businesses, if they think they're giving away something free, even if it's to a loyal customer, the challenge is, you know, psychologically, they're going to be like, I'm losing money on this program. Well, I'm rewarding loyal customers and I'm now still making money on that loyalty transaction. And what I always like to do is, you know, you could talk to them about like, okay, you pick your number of check-ins. Let's say it's 7 check-ins. Let's just do 8 because that's easier for math. I do like to, by the way, keep the check-ins lower. I tend to recommend, especially when you're doing like a 15 off 30, I would recommend that 4 to 5 because then I always seem this is kind of a gamification thing where I always feel close to being able to achieve my reward, which means when I'm thinking about where I'm going to go to lunch or I'm thinking about where I'm going to go for dinner, I'm more likely to choose that place because I'm closer to getting that reward. And if people are looking at what is my real discount to this customer, well, if the average ticket's $25, they've spent $125 minimum before they come in and get that $30 off. So they spent $155 to get $15 off. And when you frame it that way with the merchant, now they're really only giving that customer 5% off over 6 visits. And when you frame it that way. So that really, a lot of times when a merchant's kind of hemming and hawing about giving a discount, that will really help explaining it that way. And then you're just going to pick the template here based on kind of what the business, if it's a boutique, you can kind of pick the different templates that we've got there. Click next. Then we have some predetermined automated text messages that you can choose. We've got what we call a bounce back text. You can see here it tells you that it's sent 3 hours after the first check-in. So if I want to use that, I would click that. I would put the offer. And any of these we can always do custom offer, right? I'm just picking ones right now. And I could do, you know, $2 off any appetizer. Again, that specific, you know, if I want to push appetizers, that's great. But being that specific, a lot of times is going to reduce the redemption rate. But just kind of showing you how you can put a custom offer in there. Then over here, I can go to preview and I can change the image. So we've got some fun images there. And we also have the text pre-written out for you. So it's just going to save you some time. It's auto-generating everything for you. Joe's Pizza Alert. Joe, thanks for coming in today. We appreciate your business and hope you come back soon. Use kiosk so it knows that I'm using the kiosk in the program, or click. This is the link that's going to take them to the mobile web app at location to redeem $2 off any appetizer on your next visit. And the offer is going to expire within 7 days. And then it says, you know, get social with us. And if we put those mini URLs in there, it will actually automatically put those in there so we can track the clicks. If you want something different, you know, you just, once you've signed up the account, you go into the account and you can help your merchant set that up. Anniversary offer, birthday offer. You know, what this does, just so if you're not aware how our birthday offer works, it's going to actually ask for their birthday 7 days after opt-in so they can send them a birthday message. And then on their birthday, it's going to send them, you know, it's going to send them this message. And then you can kind of, again, have fun with it, change it up a little bit. And then my favorite for the loyalty program is the We Miss You offers. The reason they're my favorite is because every business has a built-in customer loyalty that, or a built-in loyal customer base. And I always tell people it's like it's a piece of the pie of your total revenue. How do we make that piece bigger, which is going to make the whole pie bigger? And one of the ways you do that is the fact that customers lapse. Now, how do we take those loyal customers and that have lapsed for 20 days or 40 days or 60 days and get them back? And there's so much competition whether it's the restaurant world, the retail world, that you need to sometimes remind customers they may love your brand. They just haven't thought about you. They hadn't driven in that area. And so by having this little reminder, you're going to be able to help your merchants drop upwards of 25% of those lapsed customers back each month. And what's great about that is that alone typically is going to provide a return on investment for your merchant. Therefore, if they go to cancel, you're like, look how much revenue we drove in just in the "we miss you" text. Because sometimes if they're not sending out text messages, they're like, oh, it's not really working, just because they're not looking at the data. There's value in the loyalty program, there's value in the automation. But if they look or just thinking I'm not sending out text messages, so I need to cancel, you can now prove how great it is, how great the text is working on the automation, and then use that to get them to send out more text alerts. And again, I recommend sending out a text every 7 to 10 days. If you're doing it multiple times a week, it can come a little bit overwhelming for a consumer. So once a week and add value is kind of what I recommend there. So I could pick here. I want to do it 15, 20, or 30. Now, if you go into the actual system, you can customize this anymore, but this is just kind of to set up those first automations for you. Select the offer, create a custom one here. I'm gonna do 3 off 15. And then I've got some different GIFs and images you can choose. And if I want to do 40, 50, or 60, and I can kind of select the ones I want. Then next, I'm going to put in the location address, the time zone. So the time zone is so we know, when the message is going to go out, it's going to be connected to that time zone. Then from there, I am going to pick the subscription. So you can see these three are what I have being noted in the pricing plans to be visible. So I'm going to do the full service. They've got 2 locations, and I'm going to do a setup fee of $700, so $350 a location. And you can see here we're prorating the first 11 days. And the reason we do that is because in the very early beginnings of our business, we didn't prorate. But when people think about their monthly messages they get each month, they think in terms of month. So if I signed them up, on the 21st and I'm billing the 21st and it's resetting on the 21st, they're not going to remember and it's going to bring up some issues. So we just prorate that first month. And then we're going to bill them again on the first, or the software is going to automatically bill them for you on the first. And if I want to add multiple kiosks, I can do that as well. Click next. One thing to note, when you're doing multiple locations, as you see here, we only set up one location. You'll go into the manage and you'll add that second location. The reason that's important is you want to make sure every address for every location is in the system, because the mobile web app, has that geofencing technology, and we need that location in there. Click next, and then I'm going to enter the billing information, click create account. Once I've created an account, it's important that you go to numbers and register, get the number registered. So it'll have, instead of view verification here, it'll say submit for verification. And it auto populates everything, just kind of review that. If you want to add anything, you can. But you just click submit, and then it gets reviewed by the carriers. And then once it's approved, that's when you can start sending messages on that dedicated toll-free number. So when you sign up an account, we do give you a dedicated toll-free number from the carriers, but it still does have to be registered before they allow any traffic to go through that number. And that typically, it's taking now less than 7 days. And when they started this verification process, it was taking 3 weeks, but that's really sped up. But you just want to let your merchant be aware that there is a verification process. They actually verify every single business that is attached, when they're attaching it to that number. So you just want to kind of prepare them and set the proper expectations that, once you sign up, within 3 to 5 days, 7 max, we'll be able to start collecting numbers and adding people to the loyalty program. So you don't want to put the kiosk immediately in. If you may have seen some training, we used to actually leave the kiosk behind, set it up immediately, but that was before the laws changed and every number had to be registered. So register the number immediately. That way, there's no holdup. And then also you want to go to support because you've got a new kiosk, put new kiosk request form, and you'll just fill out this form and follow the steps on answering the questions. It's just two steps, and then you submit that, and then that will notify Credit Ticket for our team, notifies them, and then from there we'll be able to get your kiosk shipped out. Typically, we ship it out usually the same day, depending on what time it is. If you get it in before lunch, usually it's going to get shipped out the same day, but it'll definitely be shipped out within 24 hours. Let's see here. I'm going to pause. Dan, you got a question here? Let me allow you to talk.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Quick question, and I think I have the answer. Can they, and you might have just said this, I'm multitasking, trying to listen in. Can a kiosk be delivered and plugged in and turned on prior to the TFM being approved, or did you say wait?
I would wait because they're not going to get the opt-in messages.
Yep, yep. So the kiosk will work, the loyalty part, but they won't get the reply yes to opt in. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Got
exactly.
it. Yep, thank you.
Luke asked, is there a new account setup checklist? I don't know if it's a checklist. I know it's in Trainio, but let me find out if there's a checklist. It's a great idea.
I think there is, Joe. I have one. I might have made it myself, but I do have one.
Yeah, I thought we put one together, but we've done so much training. I sometimes forget what I've done and what I haven't done. um, but yeah, there's going to be really, once you've got your pricing plans, you're just going to sign up the account, submit the number, and then, if you got a kiosk, submit the kiosk. So there's really only three steps. There is a video training on this as well. Plus, I'm recording this, so it'll be out there. But really, there's three steps. Obviously, I showed you how to set up a pricing plan, which is really a different step because when you're out selling accounts, you've already got your pricing plan set up. I just kind of wanted to show that to you guys today. So. All right, let's see here. All right, so now we've set up the account. We talked about the different offers and why to use generic offers over more specific offers. We talked about the automation. Now, if the automation makes it simple to get things launched, but you have the option obviously to go in there and help them and build it all out custom with their own imagery as well after the fact. All right, let's see here. Sure didn't miss anything on the sign up process. So let's kind of talk about post sale strategies. This is the strategy I've been using in our business for I don't know how long, probably the entire time, probably since 2012. So last 12 years. As you probably have gotten to know, I'm a very process oriented guy. To scale, I feel like you got to have things that are repeatable. So you got to set a process, analyze that process and keep making it better. And this process has gotten better over the years. But what we've learned, if you're selling just SaaS, the idea is you don't have to do a ton of customer service. And that is true if you implement on the front end effectively and you really do a good job of onboarding the merchant. And so I learned that in the early days, like we've got to do a really great job of onboarding and getting them to use it. And then we don't have to really ever talk to our merchants except for through sending out ideas through email marketing and things of that nature. So kind of the post-sale strategies, if you're going back to install the kiosk, you're going to set up a time to go back and install the kiosk if needed. When you think about installing a kiosk, you really want to make sure you install it at a good, what I call a good choke point, and a choke point where all the people have to funnel through. So if you think about a restaurant, if it's a casual dining restaurant, everyone's going to go to the hostess station to let them know they're there. A fantastic place for a kiosk. If you're casual dining and you got you walk into the right and there's the hostess station in the far left corner, you've got the kiosk. We've seen that. It just doesn't work as well because it's off over there. They don't see it. They go in to get set. They take them to their seat. So having it right there at the hostess station, or if it's more of a fast casual, maybe you're walking up to order, having it right there at the ordering station or at the pay station is going to be a great spot for it. In some cases, they don't want it at the hostess station, that's fine. Find a way where when they walk in, it's going to be before they get there that everyone has to walk by it. So it's really important to kind of talk with the merchant about where are we going to put this kiosk. Also, what I would do as part of the post sale strategy immediately is this can be done like either immediately upon closing or once you schedule the call to do the kiosk install. You go back to do the kiosk install and then create and launch web forms or keyword offers and then get them to share on their social media and email channels. Because at the end of the day, what we've learned is if you can get these merchants to get a database of over 500 customers in the database and sending out messages on a regular basis, they just don't leave. I mean, our attrition rate goes almost to zero. It's not zero, but it does go down from an average of 10% down, 60, 70% less than that, because they're seeing the value, they're seeing redemptions, and it's working. So we want to do everything possible to help them build that large database of customers as fast as possible. Plus, said this yesterday in the call, you make more money the bigger the database is. I mean, I literally have merchants that are restaurants that are paying us $1,000 per location because they built such a large database. And they don't just build the database in store. I mean, they are doing stuff on social, they're doing stuff through their email channels, on their website. So really spend some time in the beginning getting them bought into being able to launch web forms on their social media channels. Another kind of thing I would do on the web forms, mentioned this yesterday, is create a unique web form or unique keyword for each of the different channels that they're going to be using, so you can help them track how well each channel is doing for them. Also, I would schedule a software training. You don't necessarily need to dive into a full software training in the beginning because they don't have anyone to send messages to. The main thing they need to know is how customers are going to sign up and how to read the message to give them their sign up offer. Then 10 to 14 days after sign up or after you've got the kiosk installed, I would schedule a time either through Zoom or face to face to show them how to send out their first message. Now, when I say show, I don't recommend, if you're doing a really truly SaaS, software as a service strategy, I wouldn't do it for them. I would actually show them, and I would literally sit over their shoulder and watch, help them design their first message. Because once they've done it themselves, they'll see how easy it is. And if they're going to do it from their phone, let them pull out their phone and do it. The system is built, mobile first anyway. So if they want to do it from their phone, that is fine. And get them to schedule their first message. And a good reminder here, I always let them know if they want to schedule everything out in advance for a month, our system doesn't build the text message of who it's going to go to until right before the message goes out. So as I add more subscribers and I've got something planned out for four weeks from now, it's still going to send it to all the people in that filtered group, whether it's all or a filtered text message. Then I'd schedule that meeting, immediately put it on the calendar. And then I would do 30, or this is what we do 30 and 60-day account reviews. Because if we get them using the platform in that first 60 days, sending out messages, and we get them to a few hundred people, they're not going anywhere in most cases. And so at 30 days, when you're performing that business review, you're going to log in before the meeting, and I would really just look at each program they're using, make some notes of some results. And then if they haven't sent out a text yet, retrain them on how to send out that first text. If you can get them to do it while you're with them, though, on that first call, you won't have to do that. But it's something that we always put in our task in our CRM to make sure that our reps are making sure they're getting the text message sent out. And then try to think of some different, discussing the successes and think of any other ideas that you can come up with to enhance the success of the program. If they haven't launched web forms, if they haven't used keywords, maybe text to win, maybe some more automation, right? Just come up with a couple ideas during that business review to help their business be more successful. And then do the same thing at 60 days. And then one thing I always do at the 60-day, or we teach our team to do, is, what can we do better, right? What would you see that would help you be more successful with this platform? And the idea behind that is just really giving a temperature to how well they feel like the program is going. At that point, they should be very sufficient in sending out text alerts. And then at that point, I would just schedule your own task to kind of follow up based on, just staying in contact with them. if you're building out a database of all your customers, email all your customers once a month with a couple ideas. You can go to Chat GPT, come up with some messaging ideas for for April or for March or whatever it may be. Like if you're doing it for March, give me 5 restaurant text marketing ideas, and they're going to give you one around, St. Patrick's Day. There's going to be Burger Day. There's just lots of different random holiday things that you could do for there as well. And then at that point, you're going to just really schedule tasks based on what you think, what you really think that you need to follow up. We typically at that point become more reactive in our business once we know they're using sending out text, and then we use the report for account management, post sale strategies follow up for the account manager. What we do is we go to the dashboard, and I'll kind of show you this, and go to reports, and I'll use the text alert activity report, and I'll look at who hasn't sent out a text in 30 days, or our account management team will, and we'll follow up with people that have not been sending out text messages in the last 30 or 60 days, because we know those are going to be more at risk accounts. And that way you can be proactive with those, and you don't have to be proactive, with every single account. Because if you're a true SaaS company, you need to do one to many, not one to one, as much as you can. And then also at that 60 days, ask for referrals. You've proved yourself at that point. You could do it at 30 days. I tend to, teach our reps to really not ask for that referral until they've really had some success with them. And then they're more likely to give you a good, a couple good referrals. So let's talk a little bit about post-sale strategies if you're doing full service. Now, the full service means they may or may not be logging into the platform, but in most cases, a full service means you're doing everything. You're sending out the text messages, you're coming up with a creative for them, and you're meeting with them once a month to get all the messages approved. And it's kind of just a set it, and they don't have to think about anything, right? So you do everything for them. You're more of a marketing agency at that point, right? And that's what a lot of our marketing agency partners are doing. They're charging a lot higher price, but now that business doesn't even have to think about it. So it is a great way for partners to, beef up revenue quick, but it does come with, some more work you have to do each month. But if you're charging $399, $499 a month to do that, you get 10 customers. Now you're making $4,000 or $5,000 a month just off 10 customers. So still kind of install that kiosk if needed. You're going to create and launch the web forms for them. So you would create all that, separate it by channels like we talked about before. If they have someone managing their social media, send it to them or have them launch it on their own social media. So they still have to, put it out there, but you can kind of create everything, come up with the ideas, and really make it easy. Like, hey, just share this link, right? And share this content. You can literally write out the content that they need to share on their social media channels, really doing that full service. You still want to schedule that meeting at 14 days to review the program. This is 14 days after you install the kiosk. And then present the text messages for the next 4 weeks, right? So you can literally in that 14-day meeting, all right, we've had it installed for 14 days. You've got 65 people in it. Here's my recommendation for the next 4 messages. Let's talk through it. Let's tweak it. And then you launch it, right? And then you come back a month later, you perform a business review. And then if you're doing full service, you should be having a monthly meeting. You could go quarterly, but probably monthly. And then let them know they could reach out to you if they had a rainy day special. And then you're going to be really doing that full service management. So, you're going to be charging more, but at the end of the day, you're going to really be designing it all for them. And I said Chat GPT earlier, like it's just we've never really done full service selling direct to merchants, but we also didn't have GTP back in the day, but it is really great for designing messages. You could name the type of business and say, hey, create me 4 messages for this month. One with a $2 off alert, and one with $5 off 15. And it'll write them out and tell it to put emojis, and then like it'll do everything for you. You can tell how many characters you want. And then you can go out there, and if you're looking for imagery, you could subscribe to like Adobe image. There's a lot, just Google different image royalty free ones, and there's plenty of them out there if you're trying to look for images to be able to share as well. So yeah, again, I would just in the full service just schedule a monthly or every 6-week meeting to get all the approvals done, for those messages.